had the wrong picture up there for a split second, but that's okay. It's okay. And we are live on my end. Soon to be, yes, we are now live on the YouTubers. Hello, YouTubers.
Hello, YouTubers.
YouTubers, I like that. YouTubers. Alright, well, hello and welcome to Gilmore's Glorious Gossip, a show dedicated to Critical Role over on the Geek and Sundry Twitch channel. Welcome to everyone joining us live, and don't worry if you can't stay. As always, we post it on Monday. Many thanks to Akuma Mika at EmmaFrost91 for this amazing logo. This week features 3 more amazing artists. The current fan art, right there, is by L, also known as at SugarSnapT over on Twitter. Later, you will be seeing fan art by Ioana Murasan. I always have trouble saying that name, and I'm never confident that I'm saying it correctly, so I apologize if I am mispronouncing that. They are known as at Ioana Murasan Art. IOANAMURESAN Art over on Twitter. And the last piece of fan art we have today is by Kellen at Naikuharu. NAIKUHARU over on Twitter. If you'd like your fan art featured here, please let any of the show's hosts know via Twitter. You can use our official at Gilmore_gossip or our direct Twitters, or you can email us gilmoresgloriousgossip@gmail.com, or contact us via Tumblr, Gilmore-gossip .tumblr.com. I don't know why I brain farted on that. And we'll do our best to get it on the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can catch us each and every week.
Sorry about the noise.
It happens. As I was saying, be sure to like and subscribe so you can catch us each and every week. I'm Akiva, found on Twitter at AkivaDavid, AKIVADAPHYDD. And joining me today are my excellent friends. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi guys, I'm Kat, also known as Castiel Games on Twitter, and yeah.
Hi, I am Jessica, otherwise known as Jessie L. Arleaf over on Twitter, or you can find me at Crit Roll Sketch over on Tumblr.
Man, episode 102.
Oh.
Oh boy. But before we get into that, we do have one pre-show announcement that is, in my opinion, even sadder than episode 102.
Oh wow, that's a big call.
Well, you have been a very important part of the team, Kat. And just so everyone knows, this will be Kat's last episode for the foreseeable future as a co-host of Gilmore's Glorious Gossip. She's moving on to bigger and better things. There is no animosity. We love Kat. She's always welcome back. But, you know, you have projects you want to take care of. Projects you want to see get done, so...
Life comes first, yo. Always
Yes.
remember, life comes first.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been amazing. The podcast is amazing. You guys are amazing, just really lovely people. And just the community around not only Critical Role, but the Gilmore Glorious Gossip community itself is just so beautiful. And I'm so happy that I got to be part of it, and that I will continue being part of it. I'm definitely going to jump into chat whenever I can. on podcasts if I have like 5 or 10 minutes free, jumping in and saying hi and just hearing you guys and chatting a bit. And hopefully, when time allows, I can come back and be a guest, perhaps, off and on, maybe in the future. But yeah, it's been amazing, and thank you so much to Akiva and Kalia, whenever she listens to this, for taking a chance on me. And yeah, it's been great.
You have been an amazing and very instrumental piece to making sure this podcast has become what it is and helping me lay the groundwork for what it may become in the future.
Yeah, Kat,
I'm
just
excited.
really glad that I got to know you better.
Yeah, you too, Jess. I'm excited to see where this goes, your podcast goes. I think it's got great things in its future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I forgot to ask before the show, but do you want to keep your project under wraps until you're ready to reveal it to the world, or do you want to give the audience a little taste of what you're going to be working on, so we can make sure that the love for you does not end?
That's actually a good question. I didn't give that much thought, and I should have. Oh, sorry, that's my phone. I am working on a project. Definitely follow me on my Twitter if you are interested in following what things are coming up. I will put this out here. It is D&D related, and I suppose if you can think of what it might be like to run not one team through a campaign, but 2 teams simultaneously through a campaign.
Wow.
That might give you a bit of an idea as to what I'm trying to do. So yeah, if that interests you, definitely follow me on my Twitter, and something will be coming out very shortly.
So in short, Kat is going to be documenting self-torture.
Yes, it actually
DM
is.
self-torture.
Yes, I did not fully realize, but yes, no, it should be interesting. So
There will definitely be a lot for everyone to learn. And thank you for giving us that little preview and helping us learn more things as well.
no worries. Yeah.
So this would be the part where we would normally do comments from last Gilmore's Glorious Gossip. But the comments are getting a little dry. And I'm not saying that they're not good comments. They are excellent comments. But we're just getting fewer and fewer of them. And one thing that we say in all of our tweets, and one of the basics for this particular podcast, is that we want to have a conversation, not just amongst ourselves, but with all of you in the critter community. Can't really have a conversation if we're not getting any comments back. So I'm asking you guys, please leave comments down in the comment section below.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be afraid of us.
Yeah. There is absolutely nothing to fear. You guys, in my opinion, the critter community is always going to be more important than this podcast. It's always going to be bigger, obviously. And there's always going to be people with with differing opinions or theories that we didn't see, maybe even explanations that we didn't know because maybe we skipped 4th edition, or maybe it's a subject from Pathfinder,
Or maybe you just do something differently.
Yeah,
in a different way.
Absolutely. All comments are welcome as long as they are respectful and meant in a positive way, if that makes any sense. Like, don't comment, "You guys suck! You got that wrong!" And then say nothing else. Because we'll probably just ignore that one, simply because, well, yeah, that's your opinion, you don't have to watch. But we do like hearing from you guys. We're getting kind of lonely without the comments!
Aw.
But anyway.
Guys, stop making Akiva feel lonely. You gotta comment.
So, let's go ahead and move into the Talks Machina moments.
I put this together real haste-like, so bear with me for a second. So it was Ashley, Taliesin, and Liam this week, and we got a little bit more insight on Pike's crush because she had mentioned during last Talks Machina about the crush, and it just blew up. So Brian couldn't resist and got a very scolding look from Ashley. But she said either it'll come up in the game or she'll mention it after the campaign ends.
Yes. So we will finally learn eventually.
Yeah, John on Twitter throughout the week was mentioning that he feels very strongly about the Percy Pike theory. John is usually in our chat, and I really love it as a concept. I want it to be true, but I feel like if it is true, I want just more indicators towards it. I feel like if that is the case, Pike has been very understanding and complacent about it. So I don't know. I'm in two seats on that theory.
I'm sure John will have more to point out to you for this episode.
Yes.
There are a few other things that happened that support his theory.
Unfortunately, John did say on Twitter that he would be unable to join us tonight, as he is out of town for his own D&D thing. But,
Kegan28 agrees. I agree with John. It's totally Percy. There we go. I want this. I want this to happen. I want it to come out in the game. I definitely don't want this to be an after game.
Yeah, that just leaves things spoiled.
Yeah.
People are saying whether they agree or not, or
Javante Moton is saying, "I'm leaning towards Vax, man. I'm telling you, I'm calling it now." I don't know.
That's interesting.
So.
All
right.
So moving on, we also got Percy, or Taliesin saying that Percy's not really on board with Scanlan yet, while everybody else kind of is now. He's very uncomfortable about Scanlan having a gun, and he's just letting everyone else be pleased for him.
Yeah.
So, a lot of salt.
Yeah, but can you really blame him?
Yeah, no, I can't, man. So, Liam also said that Vax is pretty understanding in retrospect of Scanlan's actions because he knows how much they've gone through. On a personal level, he's happy and relieved to see them. Yeah. Even though he knows everybody's flawed, Scanlan's flawed, Vax really liked Terry, but he believed that Terry wasn't a part of the Raven Queen's whole fate-touched thing, and whereas Scanlan was.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Vax has a very clear and defined picture of this fate that he believes is now linking them all together and tying them all together, and the fact that from the beginning he kind of probably had this belief that Scanlan would come back simply because of that.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah. And simply reinforcing that in Vax's eyes, Scanlan did come back.
Yeah. Definitely. Alright, moving on. Everyone agrees that things are not going to be the same with Scanlan after all this. Brian points out that having someone out of your life and then having them come back with inevitability will inevitably result in a change. Not necessarily for the better or for the worse, but there will be change. Okay. Ashley talks about how the darker elements of Pike's character are a little more of an intrusion on her part as a player rather than in character. So it's just a matter of Ashley not really being able to hold things back sometimes because she's a much more violent person than Pike is. Taliesin was also talking about how Percy's frightened and terrified of Delilah's return, but is far angrier at Scanlan than he is with the Briarwoods.
Which a lot of fans' response to that was a little bit of confusion.
I don't see how it's confusing at all.
Yeah. Well, neither do I, but at the same time, at first I couldn't either, but I had to play a little devil's advocate. Because a lot of people are like, but the Briarwoods took out his family. The way I look at it is Percy was able to see the Briarwoods taken down. Was able to take part in putting an end to their tyranny over Whitestone. So he has some sort of closure. He knows he can do that again if necessary. With Scanlan, that was just a straight betrayal by a friend. Somebody he had trusted.
Family, even.
Yes. So. But go ahead and continue.
And then we also get a little note from Taliesin saying that if he hadn't come across Vox Machina, Percy definitely would have been a villain of somebody else's D&D game. And he also mentions that Percy was a prince, which has gotten a lot of fans' attention. I've seen so much fan art and so many artists freaking out about that one little thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. It comes down to the age-old discussion and question, I suppose, of what you see as good and what you see as evil.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are a lot of people in Matt's world who don't see Vox Machina as the heroes. Not necessarily evil people either, but you can imagine that there will probably be people who look at what Vox Machina do and see it as maybe a group of people who are out for their own glory, a group of people who are out for their own riches, for their own motivations, who don't believe that Vox Machina are doing it for the good or the greater of others. You will definitely have groups of people who are not fans of them. So there's always, good and bad views to take on every character, which is the interesting point. And Percy is such an easy one to flip into that villain role.
Definitely. Taliesin was also mentioning that even though Percy might be a little... he might be good now, but he was mentioning that towards if they ever end the campaign with Percy still in Whitestone and still doing the things that he does with the guns, he most definitely is going to get somebody coming and seeking him out as a villain because of what he does to people who make guns.
Yes. I guess...
Do you want to take over real quick?
I guess we're gonna jump into the episode. Ah!
Oh gosh.
We can't put it off any longer. We have to jump
No.
into episode 102 of Critical Role. Let's do it. Jess, take it away. These are your
All
notes.
right.
I think you're doing
Okay.
amazing.
Thank you. So we pick up right where Vox Machina had left off. They were in a building, I believe, and deciding how to go forward, whether or not they wanted to stealth ahead or take a break. And they decide eventually that the best course of action is to cluster together and use the sensor to deter the undead. So with everybody still disguised with seeming, they all roll for deception except for Grog. They all roll well except for Grog. So he proceeds to Frankenstein down the street. Just the sight. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good connection. Especially with his intelligence level, he probably thought he was doing really well and being undead, but he was overdoing it a little bit.
Well, you know, everybody has their little quirks when it comes to how the undead act.
Exactly. This location and Matt's description of this location, I just want to take a moment to say, I felt so cold.
Oh, yeah.
Listening to this rendition of the Upside Down, as I like to keep calling it. It like for all of the places that we've gone to, for some reason I saw this place in just greys and black and white, and I felt very cold and very, out of all of the places that they've been to, scared.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how Matt can just relay that feeling.
Chris, before you start your show, can you make some,
Sorry about that. One moment, guys.
Alright.
I don't think he muted his mic.
Oh no. Like there's tons of different groups.
Yeah. So as they're going about, they see a whole bunch of undead, and not all of them are organized.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. We're having a little bit of technical issues. Yeah, for some reason OBS is not picking you guys up. It's picking me up now. So the audience is hearing one side of the conversation. Guys, I'm going to stop and restart the stream real quick so that we can bring sound back. So, one quick moment.
Like half of the episode, yeah. I was really upset.
So OBS is now back online, and it's registering you guys now again. So.
Hello.
Hi.
So let's. Okay, so everybody can hear us now. Sorry about that, guys. Little technical difficulty. I accidentally unplugged my headphones and it messed with OBS for a second. And Sil Logus in the chat has given me a new nickname, Akita.
Kira.
Yes.
Sounds like a super villain hero.
Okay.
As
It
well.
works, you know. Okay, so we're gonna have to backtrack just a little bit.
Uh,
Not sure where we.
I
muted it
know.
now. You know?
yeah, I know. So we left off with Grog Frankensteining down the street, and nobody was really bothering to stealth at all, so they're just walking right down the street with the sensor all huddled together, and they encounter some undead that are some are organized and some are a bit more erratic, which...
Now,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you have to love new players to D&D that don't realize that undead have what's called life sight. I mean, even if their eyes have rotted away or whatever, they can still see you because you're living.
Yeah. I think that's a really good thing about Vox Machina, though, is that we have players that don't know these things.
Oh, yeah.
As a metagaming doesn't really become an issue then, because you're always having to fight against that metagame if you know the creatures that you're up against.
Oh, very true.
Yeah.
And so the reactions that we're getting from the players, and therefore the characters, is a lot more true than if they had been playing for decades and had all been DMs at some point.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I'm playing with another group at the moment who are very similar. They're all new to D&D, and it's just so amazing because they do the most dumbest things, and I love it.
Yes.
I love it so much because it's just so much more fun. They are very clearly and truly normal, everyday people walking into a world of magic and monsters, and it's great to watch. So I think that's what I love about Vox Machina, is that they don't have that knowledge. What will be interesting is in the next campaign, with all of the knowledge that they have gained, how they go about utilizing that metagame-wise.
Yeah, that's going to become a challenge for them as players, is making sure they don't metagame.
Yes.
Thank you for that nice little tidbit. I had no idea that that's what happens with the undead. So I feel very blessed for having learned this information, and will totally use it against my DM in the future.
Now, don't metagame, Jess.
Alright, metagame. Yeah. Any good DM will see that coming, probably.
We'll probably punish you for it.
Punish you for it, yeah.
She's been known to punish my character, yeah.
So many jokes I could make.
Oh goodness, don't even go there, Kiva. Do you want me to continue, or do you want to take a...
Well,
Alright.
I mean, it's fine. We're all hosts here.
Okay. So we get the party moving in a cluster forward to go look at the undead, and Pike and Vax are checking out the skeletons to see how old they are, Vax particularly wanting to know if the battle happened after the age of Pervon, or when Pervon was alive.
Yeah. Which makes a lot of sense, because then it becomes an inherited issue that he needs to take care of.
Yeah.
But fortunately, these came well before Pervon.
It was well after
Or
Pervon.
after Pervon, that's what I meant.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So Vex makes a comment and says, these skeletons are almost as old as you, Scanlan. Which, just, it left me on the floor.
It was a hilarious moment.
So because the party approached those skeletons, the undead parted to around the sensor and then just followed them.
Who had a
Which-
Walking Dead flashback at this moment? You know,
I
with
did.
the whole incense thing and like all of the dead kind of like merging around them and like snapping at them and but like holding them back with the incense. Oh my lord. Crazy. Ugh.
Yeah, but at this point, honestly, I saw Percy as possibly being Rick Grimes.
Ah,
Because, I mean, he's got the revolver,
yes.
so...
Yeah.
Anywho.
So Travis actually brings up that he wants to be looking at the skies to see if, those big gloom stalkers saw any of them. And they have. 2 of them have begun to circle, and one just goes into a dive. We get panic from the party. Vex gets a perception check of 33, and Vax with a 24, I think it was. And the party ducks into the home that Vex spotted to take cover. Percy was last in, and he barricades the door while the undead persist in trying to break in. And then we get Scanlan going, searching around the room and trying to find other openings, and Scanlan goes to find a crack in the wall right as soon as the Gloomstalker that was diving at them lands on the roof of the building. So, in doing that, Scanlan casts Major Image of a little girl, basically Shirley Temple, with an injured arm to distract the undead, and the Gloomstalker. And he succeeds.
Yeah, Matt was being very merciful with that. Because well, no, think about it. As I said, that horde of undead at the front door, he said that, some of them turned to go after the little girl as well. But, with their life sight, they would have immediately known, oh, it's not living, go back to the door.
Yeah, he claimed intelligence, and I think, that was definitely an excuse of a reason for
Honestly,
how this girl has fooled them.
Yeah, honestly, it was Matt rewarding Sam for very good thinking.
Exactly. I definitely saw it as, you know what, that was a freaking awesome idea. You're going to succeed at that,
Yep.
which can happen. And I also think that it kind of came into play with Matt probably wanting them to get to this battle, which, let's be honest, it was very obvious Matt wanted them to get to this battle. So yeah.
Do you think he had a timer set for when Vecna would arrive, or do you think that this was just meant?
Yes, this is what I want to know. I'm like, is it because they took the short rest that thing, that we're jumping again, but is it because that they rested? Is it because this? Is it because that? Could anything have changed it? I would hope that there's always multiple ways that could have went. I would hope that but Matt wasn't railroading them in one direction. I don't think he's the type of DM, and he's proven over the years that he's not.
No, he is. There are times when he has sort of railroaded them.
Yeah.
But he's never done it overtly. It's after we've seen it, and he's made some comments where certain things have had to happen.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Now, the way we'll get into that more later. Let's get through all these undead first.
Okay.
So escaping through the back door, Grog produces a dead body to further distract the undead and uses the dust to tracelessness, like that's gonna do anything. And then to avoid the Gloomstalker, the party narrowly all rolls above 20 to escape detection, and they duck under another building. It's at this point when Keyleth and Percy look inside the sensor, and Keyleth takes the herbs that are within, which are kind of like a tobacco-y kind of herb that aren't necessarily used by her people a lot and is generally avoided. And she makes more of it in order to keep the sensor burning, and then rub the rest on other members of the party just to give off the scent that would deter them.
I like that they were all like, I'm not doing that. And then next minute they're taking herbs out of their hands and, and dabbing it on their neck. It's like everything with Keyleth is, what? And then, they kind of think about it for a moment and go, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's wise as a fuck.
Yeah, but I mean, if you going back to the Walking Dead idea, the sensor that they had, or whatever that they were carrying the smoke and stuff in, turned out to be burning zombie guts. And there have been a few times in The Walking Dead where they have actually smeared undead remains all over themselves.
On their bodies to cover their scent.
Yeah. So, in that vein of thinking, why not?
Yep. It made sense.
So we now have the Gloomstalkers now actively looking for Vox Machina. They're smart enough to communicate with one another and participate in the hunt. So the party proceeding through the city come to the wall that separates the inner city and the outer city. We get Vex and Vax scouting ahead, and they find a doorway through it. Just a clean-cut doorway. There are no doors. And right above where this doorway is, they see a threshold crest, just like the one in Singorn.
So many.
Who made that connection? The moment he mentioned that stone in the gate, I thought of Singorn, and then I thought maybe I'm reaching, and then Matt confirmed it, and I'm like, oh shit, like. Oh, okay. That's really not good.
And the plan becomes clear.
So clear. Crystal clear. Oh my god, did I just make a pun?
You made a pun. I'm so happy. It's your last episode with us and you made a pun!
It was a gem of a pun at that.
Oh.
This is why I have to get out.
We're infecting you, Kat.
You've taken a shine to us. You've taken such a shine to us.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Let's move on. Moving on.
All right. We'll give Kat the carrot and move on. Okay.
Okay,
So yeah, the party also realizes the plan is to teleport the city once whatever ritual is causing the glow at the top of the tower is complete.
Yep.
They talk a little bit about, do we rest? Do we keep going? What do we do? And instead of going directly through the gate, they take a little bit of a sneakier approach, and Keyleth stone shapes the wall to create a hole that everyone can crawl through. Everyone starts to go through. Stupid gloomstalkers.
Yeah.
Stupid gloomstalkers.
I love the visual of her being halfway through the tunnel and then just getting like yanked backwards by
Oh,
this
it's like
creature.
a horror movie.
Yeah, it's just so sick. I don't know. I need someone to like comic book all of this. It was so epic, and the fight, I could just see it like a comic book just coming out. It was such a great episode. I do want to touch on this just quickly before we move forward. TP Burrow says, if Fox Magna finds the controls to the Threshold Crest, they could, in theory, send the entire city somewhere else.
Oh yeah, they might be able to send it back.
Well, here comes the question. So, the Gatestones are arcane in nature.
Yes.
Would they need a pure arcane caster, such as Tarion, to be able to send it back?
Oh god, I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
but
point.
here's the other thing. Would Vecna... It depends on what Vecna's strategy is, because would he destroy all of them in order to stay grounded here?
So, as I understand it, it would probably... It wouldn't necessarily need the Gatestones there constantly in order to stay where it ended up. But again, we're getting... I mean, we are getting a little bit ahead.
Yeah, okay.
But, like I said, I don't think the Gatestones need to stay active for it to stay somewhere. I think it's just, in order to port it, they flare up and do the transport.
Activates once, yeah.
So.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
we get Keyleth getting grappled. Who she attempted to turn into a mouse, but gets grappled instead due to the lack of higher initiative. And the creature starts to fly away with her. Scanlan, being right there, uses Dominate Monster on it and succeeds, and has it drop Keyleth on the other side of the wall. He then sends it to tell the others that the hunt is over and that they no longer need to be looking for any living
meat.
flesh.
Yeah. No living meat here.
Do you want me to continue, or do you want to take over, Yakiba?
I can take over. It's up to you. I don't... Either way. So, after that, they realize that the energy ball at the top of the Tower of Entropis is continuously growing. And they have a short debate about, should we, fly up there? Should we, scout out what's going on either up at the top, or should we just go ahead and start making our way up there? So, they realize that the tower has no windows. So if they want to get inside the tower, they're going to have to go in through one of the doors. But they're in a much nicer area of the city, and they find a house that is completely intact. And they're like, we need to see what's going on in there. And without consulting anyone, Grog does his Grog thing and knocks on the door. I believe that the description was an older man.
Yeah, balding older man with wispy hair.
Yeah.
Compared to the Dungeon Master out of... What was that cartoon?
the D&D cartoon.
Yeah.
So, oh boy, it has been so long since I've seen that.
I know, right? Gosh.
So, yeah, this old man opens the door, and Grog just immediately grabs him by the face and pushes him back, and everyone enters into this building. And so they briefly interrogate the guy. And the residents and followers, the cultists and all that, they're gathering supplies for what appears to be a full-on invasion of the material plane. Simply based off of the old man saying, they were told to be ready.
Yes. I like that some of them thought that he was just booking it. Like he was just trying to grab stuff and take off. That's a fair theory. But no, it ended up that he was definitely just a devoted follower.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately for him.
Yes. So they're not really getting anything more. So Grog, who still has him, grabs him by the face again, and then puts his other gauntleted hand on the back of his head. Although I love the fact that Travis said on the back of his face. And then he says he's going to try to make his fingers touch.
Yep.
So Pike stops Grog for a moment. Hold on. Jumping around here a little bit. As that's happening, the guy grabs his little pitchfork-looking holy symbol and is praying underneath Grog's mouth. Pike grabs the holy symbol and rolls a natural 20 on her strength to pull it away. Pike tells the guy that she'd give it back if he answers their questions. And Grog just says, "No, he won't." Splat! Like a grape. And, of course, it covers Pike in gore.
The cutest moment ever.
Are you sure
So
you're not
adorable.
becoming a... Are you sure you're not starting to become a green dragon? There,
Oh, maybe. Maybe
Join the club.
it's getting there. No, I love it. Again, all the visuals. I don't know how Critical Role can be so visual in my head. Just this little Pike just getting like talking to him and saying, "I'll give it back to you." No, he won't. And then just blood and gore just like slamming across her face as his skull is crushed. It's just such an epic moment. I am really gonna miss Ashley when she's gone. She doesn't say a lot, but those moments are just precious.
Oh, absolutely. And I love how afterward Grog was like, "Oh, I thought that was like a code, like you were giving me the word.
Yeah.
You were going to talk to him after he was dead."
He was like wiping off his hands, shaking them out.
Yeah. But of course, Pike had no intention of doing Speak with Dead again because she's trying to make sure she saves her spell slots.
That would be interesting.
Well, as
long as he's got a mouth.
As long as he has an intact, or not intact, but as long as he has a jaw. Broken or not, it doesn't matter. He has a jaw. Like, it hasn't been ripped away from his face. It's just crushed. He can still speak.
Oh.
Nope.
No.
So the party begins to debate on taking a hero's feast, but they realize, yeah, with the way that ball is growing, we don't really have the time. So they head back out, and Scanlan and Vax fly up on the Gloomstalker.
Call him by his proper name,
I
Mr.
will.
Mistopheles.
Yes. Now, for some reason, in my head, and this is particularly because I have pun-itis, the first thought that went into my head was, Mr. Mistopheles, Mr. Mist of Fleas.
Hmm?
I don't know why, but that's the thought that occurred to me.
Oh. Is this like her, Laura's shirt in this episode? I think someone else mentioned it on Twitter, but getting, I suppose, words mixed up.
Yeah.
It looked like, just the way she was wearing it, I forget what it said. It's something like...
Only good vibes.
Yeah, only
only good vibes, and I read only good boobs. Literally, that's what I read.
Well, she does have a nice set, but that's really inappropriate for me to have said that, and I apologize. But yeah. Oh, good
That's
vibes
okay.
only.
I'm sorry, I sent you into a corner there.
Yeah.
I'll save you. Go ahead.
I did read that, and someone else on Twitter read it too. They tweeted it out, so I'm like, thank God I'm not the only one.
Oh. I'm still blushing from embarrassing myself with that. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, Scanlan and Vax fly up on Mr. Mistopheles after Pike heals everyone, and the rest of the party takes a short rest. Now, flying on these Gloomstalkers is a very cold affair.
Oh my god! That's great!
Yeah. Anywho, okay.
Did nobody else get that? Did nobody else get that?
I realized
Come
it
on.
after you started giggling.
Come on! That was so easy to pick up.
Put your mind in the gutter, cat.
Liam and Sam
Sam.
were making sex jokes the entire time. So a very cold affair. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yes, those two.
But yeah, so riding on these things is like trying to ride on an iceberg. So Vax and Scanlan spoon on Mr. Mistopheles to keep warm. And Matt is very good at those. I agree with the note here that you put in, Jess. Matt is very good at making the Gloomstalker noises.
Yeah. He kept making those noises throughout the entire episode, and I was just like, jeez.
Yeah.
He's made them a couple of times with other animals that are like flying animals and such, and he even gets the head movements down. It's freaky.
Yep.
How much time does the man just look at his bird all day long and mimic Dagon's movement?
Oh gosh.
How often does he make those noises at Dagon and scare the crap out of his bird? That's what I want to know.
Oh no.
So Vax and Scanlan are, they fly up there and they witness the completion of the ritual. 30 cultists at the top of this tower drop dead, and the glowing mass of magic just seems to explosively expand, glowing extremely brightly. The different tendrils of magical energy that were being sent from the ziggurats on the prime material plane to this tower completely break off, and or break off from these spheres that were surrounding the altar, and it causes the Gloomstalker to lose altitude briefly. Vax has a perception high enough that he sees that the orbs were also feeding energy to a small bead of ultra bright light suspended above the altar. He sees a figure emerge after the ritual completes, and he figures it's because he knows Delilah is alive. He figures it's her husband, which I don't remember his first name.
Oh, I didn't put... I mean, that was really unclear. I only put Briarwood because I refer only to Delilah as Briarwood sometimes, so... He never mentioned that it was Silas.
Silas, that was the first name.
No. That was an assumption by Vax?
No, he never mentioned Silas. I just watched the episode. He didn't mention it.
He just said Briarwood.
Yeah.
But,
right.
You know, my thinking is they saw Delilah alive. They saw Delilah go through the siphon. They know she's not dead.
Yes.
So it made more sense to me that he was thinking it was Silas.
Ah.
Okay.
So they head back down and inform the party. And
yeah, so what Joshua says, Vax thought that the Death Knight was Silas.
Yes, but Matt never introduced or didn't
did not confirm it.
No, didn't describe the Death Knight about when they were flying up there at first.
I really hope it is.
That
like
would
just this.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But we know that Silas was a vampire and was correctly killed.
That's true.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
But Scanlan sends Mistopheles off, and there begins a rather long discussion on what specifically to do. And Heroes Feast is, of course, brought up again. And in a not so ironic way, it was rather interesting because everyone was like, well, we should have it, and because once we get into a fight, we're going to say, man, wish we had a Heroes Feast.
Yeah.
And then within the first round.
Yeah. Man, wish we had that Heroes Feast.
But in hindsight, they were definitely put in a very difficult position of...
Yeah, but again, we're getting ahead, so...
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure we...
I'm so bad at that. There's a couple of things in the chat. Burrow says, so does the yellow-green eye in Delilah's eye actually belong to Raishan? Maybe that's something we can talk about when we get there.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think X the Jester has the correct view of things. I'll say that. I'm not going to say exactly what he said yet. For those of you that are watching the recording, it'll be a surprise when we get to it.
Yep.
So, the party comes up with a way to bring the tower down with...
To them, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. With presumably everyone on the top just falling, taking a buttload of damage before the combat even begins. Because at this point, they realize combat's about to happen. The plan they come up with is Keyleth and Pike casting Earthquake, and Grog using his Titanstone Knuckles to weaken the tower further if necessary. And it's while they're talking that they discover that Scanlan has the spell True Polymorph. Which just... Scanlan with True Polymorph. That is a dangerous combination.
Yeah. I love that spell. I can't wait to get it, because the moment I do, no matter who the character is, no matter what, I'm going to turn myself into a dragon, and that's going to be it.
Oh, you're just going to succumb? You're just going to become the dragon?
I will become the dragon.
Alright, and then you will walk off into the sunset. Like, peace, I'm out.
Basically, that's my entire goal.
That is a good goal. I'm a dragon now, bitches. I'm out.
So, a lot of the cultists are moving towards the tower rather rapidly, very cheerfully, like all excited. So Vox Machina pulls on cultist robes that they had liberated and follows them. But they only have 6. So Pike and Scanlan pull a Little Rascals where Scanlan is sitting on Pike's shoulders using Go ahead.
I'm so glad they flipped that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes so much more sense.
Yeah, the weight of Pike's armor would have crushed and killed Scanlan.
Yes. He lived how we knew him. Crushed my armor.
Yeah. But, so Scanlan uses a flute and Mythcarver to extend his arms to what should be human length. And
it was pointed out that this is the 3rd time he's used Mythcarver.
Yes. So they're following along on the roads.
Vestiges.
And the roads in the center of this city, which we've learned is Theranthala, all spiral inward. It's not like a normal city where you've got like spokes out. Instead, the roads curve around, eventually meeting into the tower.
Now, I thought that was real interesting, and I was forgetting what kind of symbolism Vecna uses, so I was wondering if that was like actually a symbol of Vecna?
No, I think that was more of a product of, the city engineers planning it that way.
Yeah, they just did it for style.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's all about the aesthetic.
So in the chat...
Anil, Scanlan doesn't need a vestige. He is the vestige.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Anil also is asking, how did Grog disguise himself? Kat, you replied that Matt seemed to allow him to wear a cloak until he got big and tore it.
Yes.
My thought was, yeah, he pulled on the cloak, pulled it, around himself, but it was very tight, almost stretched.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. So, all the people are gathering. It's almost like it's a festival. They're climbing on rooftops. The party continues looking for different vantage points that they can see from. And Vex notices the sky getting brighter, and a magical barrier surrounding the inner portion of the city is rising and closing it. And after it has encompassed the city, it clears. The sky becomes bluish, and snow begins to fall.
I started freaking out.
Oh, a lot of people did.
Yeah, I did. I was actually getting a little upset because I just didn't. I'm like, we already lost Imon. We're just starting to accept Whitestone as our home. Vox Machina say, it's their home and it's our home. I think this episode made me realize that we as viewers gain connection to these places as well, and we want to see them protected, and we want to see them prosper and do well. And so my thought that anything could happen to Whitestone now, I was just like, no.
Yeah.
It can't happen.
Same. Hard same.
Very much same.
Yeah.
X the Jester has some insight on the question you were asking, Jess, about the roads.
Oh, okay.
X says, it could have been based on the ancient Roman tactic known as the broken wheel, forcing invading armies or skirmishers or raiding bandits to spiral into a concentrated center over a greater distance of a curve. Which, is an excellent tactic. Because,
definitely.
Gives you more time to react.
Yeah. I like that. That's interesting.
Yes. But yes, everybody panics thinking it's Whitestone, but because of the weather, it's either somewhere around Vasselheim or somewhere in northern Wildmount. And because of the history that Matt has chosen for Vecna, I'm thinking northern region of Wildmount.
Yeah.
Simply because for anyone who isn't aware, in Exandria, Vecna, aside from not completing his desire to truly become a god, Vecna originated in Wildmount. So, since it was Wildmount that originally shunned him and eventually took him down, it's most likely that is where Vecna would want to start his campaign to enslave the world. Because once he overcomes the insult and injury that Wildmount caused him, everything else is golden.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But there have been some equally convincing arguments made for it being in Vasselheim or near Vasselheim. Going from a story perspective, and Matt has proven to be more of a story-based DM. It would make more sense to be Wildmount. So, but Vox Machina then gets into position, and Pike and Keyleth join hands to start their casting, and there's a voice that enters the Vox Machina's heads, basically saying, I would ask you to listen before you make a fool of yourselves. I've watched you since you stepped into my domain, and I'm not going to lie. It's been entertaining.
At least he likes comedy.
Oh, yeah. And, we realize pretty quickly it's the voice of Vecna.
Yeah.
And he gives Vox Machina a choice.
Can I just say that word gumption, I never thought in my entire existence that I would hear someone actually use gumption in a verbal conversation.
I know. I mean, that's a word that you associate with, like, the 50s and 40s.
Yeah. Maybe
Even
reading
the
novels.
30s. Yeah.
Matt's linguistic. I don't
Choices.
know. Choices. Sometimes he comes out with these crazy words, and it's impressive.
But, for Vecna, it's very, very appropriate. Because gumption is seen as an antiquated word.
Yeah.
And Vecna is quite old, so it makes sense.
Quite ancient. So he's
Yes.
using very ancient speak. Burrow says that, talk about a Bond villain speech. And Arnold says, Vecna is old school, yo.
Yes. Very old school. So, as I was saying, Vecna gives them a choice amongst 3 possibilities. They can walk away, they can join him, or they will die and join him anyways.
Did anyone have a moment where they're like, what if Vox Machina joined him?
Oh, God.
Just in that moment. They just all looked at each other and went, you know what? Fuck it. Excuse my French.
So, the thought that pops into my head immediately after what would happen is best recounted by a song. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine.
Karaoke brought to you by Gilmore's Glorious Gossip. Tune in next week.
So, Vax gives a response. No one walks away. They do look around, and it appears that Vecna was speaking to everyone. Cultists, Vox Machina, all of them. But it was different, or it seemed to be different for Vox Machina than it was for the cultists. So Keyleth and Pike cast their spell, and the tower falls, bringing it down upon a portion of the now transported city.
Killing everybody in that area.
Yeah, they were cultists, no big loss.
Yeah, and plus they'll be undead.
Yeah. Vecna just goes, oh, you've changed part of my group from worshippers and researchers into army.
Yes.
Okay.
Though he does need worshippers. They're very important.
If he wants to finally, ascend to godhood, or descend to godhood in his case. But there's a little bit of a problem. The top of the tower descends slowly and lands. So preparing, Vox Machina starts forward. They take off their robes, and they, Ashley says, "Yeah, we do that slow motion walking scene." So Vecna, talks to them in their heads again. "I'm genuinely impressed. I'm excited, and I would like for you to remain to watch my ascension."
I didn't get the last part. I'm sorry.
Oh, basically, but
Why rob anyone of a fine
Yeah.
death? So come and be the next sacrifice of a new age.
but
It was
far
such a
be it
great
of me.
speech.
Yes, but far be it of me to rob anyone of a fine death.
Yeah,
It
that
was such a great speech, and everyone was like sitting there, like, oh my gosh. And then Vex just like sits up and goes, "You're a dipshit."
Yes.
Just
You really get the
I
feeling.
wanna come back.
You really get the feeling of Vecna's age versus Vox Machina's age.
Right,
where-
it's very obvious.
Where Vecna's, this eloquent, older teenager, and Vox Machina are these little 5-year-olds who are like, "You're stupid."
You're a meanie.
Yeah.
You should die.
So, everybody gets into position, they go up on brooms. Vax pops his wings and flies straight up 80 feet above the top of this tower. Scanlan true polymorphs himself into a beholder, and everyone, they get up there, everyone scatters to various places. And there's Delilah with a Death Knight and Vecna. And one of the things they notice...
I'm actually getting nervous as we get closer to this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, although this happens later in the combat, they eventually realize that Delilah's left eye is sort of yellow-green with a cat's eye pupil. So I'm going to go back in the live chat a little bit. And TP Burrow asks, so does the yellow-green eye in Delilah's eye actually belong to Raishan?
Nope.
Which, Kegan 28, X the Jester, and that's all I'm seeing. They point out, no, it's most likely the Eye of Vecna. And I agree with that. It is the artifact known as the Eye of Vecna.
Yes. No, I meant to try to pull that up, and I haven't.
Yeah, do we have Vecna stats?
Vecna stats?
Vecna, even pre-Ascension, Vecna is what's known as a lesser god.
Yeah.
So we're looking at stats between 20 and 24 for everything.
Okay.
And basically, it's very open to Matt's interpretation.
Yes.
He can kind of put together what he feels works with Vecna, which I think he did very well. Oh, okay. So there's the Eye of Vecna, Hand of Vecna. Person who's attuned to both can use the Wish property.
Yep.
Oh gosh, there's a lot of information. All
Okay.
right, look it up, guys, if you're interested.
So,
They have random properties, a ton of random properties attached.
Yes.
So yeah.
And with a little bit of trivia, X the Jester says, Vecna originated from the world of Greyhawk. He's a Gygax original. And yes, he is. And in the world of Greyhawk, Vecna is an actual lesser god. He ascended and everything. In 3rd edition, I believe he eventually did. in Faerun, but that was like towards the very end, going.
But he ascended.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was in 4th edition. And in 5th edition, the shenanigans that Vecna used to ascend in 3rd edition get retconned a little bit. And in Greyhawk, he is still a lesser god. But in Faerun and... why can't I think of the other place with the Warforged?
I don't know it.
Baldur's...
No, Baldur's Gate is in Faerun.
I don't know. I'm very bad with...
What is that last setting?
Keggin! Dice Camera Action! My favourite other show.
Yep.
I hope not.
Eberron, X the Jester with the save. Thank you.
Sorry.
In Eberron and Faerun in 5th edition, Vecna has not ascended in those two settings.
He's gonna keep saying it.
Oh yeah, because
Eberron.
well,
God
you have
damn.
to remember, chat is
Delayed.
So, and Anil is asking, Vecna is the mortal enemy of Orcus, right? Not enemy, but chief rival.
Frenemy.
They don't like each other because they're both trying to do the same thing. So, Vecna wants to remove Orcus and take his place.
Okay.
So, yeah. But, yeah, getting back to the combat. Oh, to say it went poorly is an understatement. Vecna being the power level that he is, he pretty much says, yeah, I go first. And he goes first. But he immediately paralyzes, 4 party members?
5.
5?
It was 2,
No,
yeah,
it's 4.
only 2
Sorry.
were free.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I thought it was 4. But...
And
oh, no, that's right. It was 5.
it was wisdom saving throws.
Yeah.
People. Right off the bat. That hero's beast, goddamn.
Yep.
No, I think it actually was 4. No, never mind. It was 4 because Keyleth didn't get it, Percy didn't get it, and Pike didn't get it.
I thought Percy had gotten it.
Okay.
No, Percy was out of range, so he never even had to roll.
Yeah.
So, okay. But the saving throw is at minimum 24.
Ugh. None of them are good at Constitution saving throws.
Or wisdom saving throws.
Was it wisdom? Yeah, it was wisdom.
But, yeah, it really sucked because Scanlan was in, Beholder form, and had he made his save, or had things gone differently and Vecna not used that, Scanlan could have just started staring at Vecna. And Vecna would have been pretty much out of the fight.
Yep.
Just looking up Dominate Monster really quickly.
There was a lot of question on what spell Vecna used. Dominate Monster does not work on...
It says you attempt to beguile a creature.
Did they change the word? Okay, so there was a tweet on Twitter, and I don't remember who said it, but they said it seems like D&D changed everything in 5th edition just to trip me up.
Yeah,
Because it used to be...
that sounds about right.
It used to be Dominate Monster did not work, or Hold Monster did not work on humanoids, and Hold Person did not work on monsters.
Yeah, even Hold Monster says choose a creature. So, you know, it says at the end of its turns. Rah, rah.
Okay.
So the definition of creature, yeah,
Yep.
Why would you call it Hold Monster or Dominate Monster, and then have it such an open spell?
Was it Power Word Stun?
Idea. No, Power Word Stun is a much different effect. It gives you the stunned status, not the paralyzed status. Very minute differences, but they are different enough to
I honestly just thought it was Whole Person at a very high level.
I figured since this is Vecna we're dealing with, it was just hold everyone.
Yeah, like his own version.
Yeah.
It's like Whole Person, but I'm almost a god, so I can now hold multiple people. Which I believe Whole Person you can, if you cast it at a higher level, you can target additional people.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, it sucks because Scanlan's now stuck. And Vax, who is 80 feet in the air, just plummets, dropping to the ground.
Yeah, they were really smart about using these smaller level spells at first.
Oh, yeah. But
I was quite surprised about that. I realized, like, visually, awesome, is that, you know, this beholder comes over the ledge and Vax shoots up in the air and you've got all these heroes kind of converging around this god wannabe, and the visual was stunning. But they have been in this situation so many times when they're in the air and they get knocked down and they take a crap ton of damage and it's not good.
Yes, but you also have to remember, you know, with Vox Machina, they're very much like Chumbawamba. They get knocked down, but they get up again. You're never going to keep them down.
You're very musical today, Akiba. I like it.
I was actually listening to Chumbawamba earlier today.
But in this case, it didn't happen.
It didn't quite happen that way. Turn comes to Delilah. She targets Vex with Finger of Death.
Oh, Kekken 28. Oh, interesting. Matt replied to someone on Twitter stating that he admitted he goofed on the Hold Person in relation to the Beholder.
Yeah, but if the spell was, you know, Hold Monster or Hold Creature, as it should be called.
Yeah.
Matt should have just gone that route rather than the Hold Person.
Yeah, he's a very honest
honest person, yes. And we love that about him. But then again, this is Vecna. Maybe he has found a way to make Hold Person affect beholders.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, Matt could have said these things. Again, he's so honest.
He is.
And admits to mistakes that he makes. And he has a group of players who are very understanding that he is only human and will make mistakes. If you think about it too much, a mistake like that, if that is true, Kegan,
it happens.
Let's just say that how this fight goes was very heavily affected by that opening spell actually taking hold. So the fact that his players are so supportive as well as very important And a good lesson to anyone out there that, just support your DMs. They do make mistakes.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, as we were saying, Vex gets pointed at by Delilah, casting Finger of Death, and Laura rolls a nat 20, so she only takes half as much damage.
She keeps rolling nat 20s on Delilah. Sometimes she rolls nat 1s, but other times she rolls nat 20s, and it's amazing.
Yes.
And their little rivalry back and forth is just so delicious.
Yes. But, it ends up not mattering, because then Vecna uses power word kill. And Vex is dead.
What a spell.
Yep.
What a spell for someone like Matt, who knows the players, has been playing this campaign for so long, to have the guts to put that spell into your arsenal, knowing that to not use it would just be out of the question, and knowing what using it meant.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Matt's not screwing around.
It's Vecna, he shouldn't screw around.
This is serious.
Absolutely. And of course Liam is like, when that happens, I'm laying there on the ground. No! Whew.
It's madness.
Delilah.
Drew in chat, very good point. I am with you on that. We might discuss it in a bit more detail when we get to the finale of it all.
Yeah, Drew, we can go ahead and cover this now. Drew L. Roberts in the chat says, do you think Matt had Vecna kill Vex to lead them to a story point? Do you think he was hoping they would have run sooner than they did? Absolutely. Because although Matt was acting very well in the during the fight, when the players would take a second to discuss what they were doing, he looked concerned. He was like, they're not running. If they force this, I'm going to be forced to TPK them. Crap.
Yeah.
Because there are fights that you are supposed to run from. Your DM is going to set those up on occasion.
And he did state the words, this is your situation, a little bit later on in the fight, and these two bad guys are not even looking phased.
Yeah.
The moment your DM says something like that, get out. Your DM has a very, very clear view of what's happening on the battle. They're keeping track of your hit points, they're keeping track of what's going on behind the screen, and if they're telling you, you guys are looking like crap, and my guys are looking really good, that's your DM telling you that you need to get out.
And Matt's first hint that they were supposed to run was when Percy shot Vecna, and he unloaded all the charges of
all
Cabal's
of the damage.
And the only thing that affected Vecna was the lightning damage from Cabal's Ruin.
And that only did half.
Yeah, even then it was only half damage. So.
Yep, that was quite a surprise. Justice says, okay guys, not always. I think Matt may have been bluffing there.
Probably in his wording of, my guys are looking pretty good.
Yeah, maybe. PJ
Delilah was the only weak link, though.
Yeah, she went down quicker than I thought, considering. If their luck holds out, I bet not even...
Nope, stop. We're not at that point yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're not at that point yet.
PJ, we will return to that.
Yes. Because there's a lot to talk about regarding that particular subject.
Yes.
So, Delilah then, comes back to Delilah's turn, and she goes to cast Disintegrate on Vax. But Scanlan counterspells it. Scanlan was once again MVP for this fight.
Definitely.
Yep.
Could not have done it without him.
Oh, yeah. So Grog does a number on Delilah. But immediately after his turn is the Death Knight's turn. This is the Death Knight being... There's a lot of speculation that the Death Knight is actually Silas.
Yep.
But Silas was a vampire, and the way he was killed was the correct way to kill a vampire.
Yeah.
Silas is not coming back.
It doesn't really have a soul in any retrievable form, I would say, for a rising of a Death Knight in this manner.
Yeah, what's left of Silas's soul is being used as currency down in the Nine Hells.
Yeah, it's in one of those little stones.
No, it's not even it's not even enough to put into a stone. It is a simple little coin that screams.
Let's go screaming coin.
Yeah.
But I liked the theory. I liked the concept of it.
Yeah.
And I would have hoped. I'm like, oh, maybe. And if Matt does say that it's him, then I'm going to roll with it. I'll be happily rolling with it.
It is Matt's game, so his decision holds.
This guy takes a lot of damage, and seems just as much nutfaced as Vecna.
Yeah.
Yeah, he proved himself very quickly that he was scary.
Yes.
Very.
And, you know, he, after Grog does his little number on Delilah, the Death Knight essentially uses a form of banish. And, Grog goes back to the Shadowfell.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being put in that position where you're suddenly transported to a place where there is nothing? It's just nothingness for as far as the eye can see. And above you are 9 creatures of just black death. And they're just descending upon you. And you're it. You're by yourself.
Yeah. Now,
Goddamn.
Matt did a very good job of saying that he kept his hand out even as he was moving to attack others, like he was keeping concentration on that spell. So, the party realizes all they need to do is either kill the Death Knight or break his concentration on the spell, and Grog comes back. And then Vecna uses a legendary action. And this is where we get into the part of the conversation that none of us really likes to have. Vax is disintegrated.
Birdson! Sorry.
I don't know what that sound was, just but it was really painful.
Sorry.
Are you okay?
Birdson. Oh. They're all my favorite, but he's a good...
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to kill someone dead, that is the spell to use.
It turned Vax to ash.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people are saying that the only way to be brought back would be true resurrection, and Matt has said in the past he hates true resurrection. I would counter argue you might be able to still bring Vax back using reincarnation, because they did collect his ashes.
Yeah.
So, using that, they might be able to bring him back.
So the reason why true resurrection is probably the one spell that would come up as a possibility. It says, you touch a creature, and this is the concept of, if there's no body, you can't res anybody because there is no creature to touch. But in True Resurrection's case, the spell can even provide a new body if the original no longer exists, in which case you must speak the creature's name, in which case I would assume their true name, and then the creature appears in an unoccupied space you choose 10 feet from you.
Also, they need to get a diamond.
It's expensive. It's 25,000 gold pieces. I mean, they can do it. It's not out of their realm to do it. It's just, I can see why Matt doesn't like it.
Yeah, and Matt may have the rule that he may not have even brought up to the party because he never expected the campaign to go on to a point where they had true resurrection. He may not have told them, true resurrection does not exist. There are other resurrection rituals that do, but no true resurrection.
Yes. So Joshua says Matt made a point that they will discuss how true resurrection will work. So yeah, he did mention it at the end. Just like Akiva kind of hushed me.
Well, okay. So at the end, Mauricio was saying, we have spell. We can do true resurrection, and Matt said we need to have a discussion.
The look on her face was just utter confusion and devastation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Matt even apologized. Said, "I'm sorry, but we need to have a discussion." And that's going back to the comment that PJ Smith had made that I had shushed Kat about. If their luck holds out, I bet not even that disintegration of Vax is going to keep him dead. Honestly, I'll be surprised if he's permadead. So here's the part where I throw in my 2 cents.
Chris, when you get
So the question becomes, will the Raven Queen allow him to be brought back?
Yes.
I don't know.
If Vax's fate was get the warning out about this problem, well, now the rest of Vox Machina know about the problem and are going to spread the word.
Yeah. So let's pull this back a little bit. Vax was disintegrated not once, but twice. The first time was very luckily counterspelled by Scanlan. Something that Matt allowed to happen, even though he didn't have to allow happen because Scanlan did it retroactively. But the first time he was disintegrated by Delilah, and then the second time was by Vecna with a very, very crappy,
Yeah.
I don't like to see things go unfinished. I honestly, truly believe, and I don't want to be like Matt is pushing for a particular direction, rah rah rah. But let's be honest, every DM has a story that they want to tell. And I honestly feel that Matt was gunning for Vax's death in this fight.
Definitely.
Used disintegration on him twice. He wanted Vax to meet a very serious and permanent-ish death out of this fight. So yeah, I'm with you, Akiva. I think
Completely.
the Raven Queen is going to come in to this.
Yeah.
Completely and 100% agree. Like, Vecna directly opposes the Raven Queen. Of course, he's going to target Vax immediately.
Yeah. Oh boy, but we are getting a little short on time, so moving forward. Felice Domines does say in the chat, I think the mark on his chest is a boon. So we'll see how that goes. But In the fight, enough damage is finally dealt to the Death Knight that he loses concentration on the spell. Grog comes back. Vecna uses another legendary action to attack Pike. And it brings her below 0, which should turn her to ash. But her armor brings her back.
Did you all love that moment where they all just kind of jumped in front of her? Don't you do
Yes.
it, Matt?
Yes.
Don't you do it?
Yep.
Oh.
But, everyone's there now. Scanlan has gathered up what he can of Vax's remains and his armor and everything.
Pike revivified Vex,
Yeah.
and Percy got to kill Delilah with Delilah. Even if we die, it's effing worth it.
Yep. And the party joins hand with Keyleth. Keyleth does plane shift to bring the party somewhere else. Vecna attempts to counterspell it, and Scanlan just swoops in behind him and 7th level counterspells Vecna.
I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm beautiful.
It's true.
That was awesome because you could see
Yes.
that conversation. He had a chance to blow his spell on Pike, and they're saying because she's just about to be killed or what have you, and he said does she have to be alive to transport? And at that moment, I really understood the gravity of the situation in that he was willing to allow her to risk, falling below 0, to save that counter spell because he knew. And he's just such a great player, thinking 2-3 steps ahead, managing his spells so perfectly, utilizing them in a way that is, it was just great. When he pulled that counter spell out, amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And then, they escape to the Feywild, leaving Vecna very confused by Scanlan's song. They get to the Feywild. They have just enough time for Vex to look around and ask, "Where's Vax?" And it's like a hard cut to black. Matt ends the episode there.
Oh gosh.
Man.
Liam's reaction? I was all right until that point.
Yeah.
Oh, it just killed him. Oh my gosh. And it was such a heart-wrenching moment, and that's why Matt did it. Matt did it at that point because he knew
It was
wrenched every string.
It's a great little narrative point to stop on.
Oh, I don't know if I can do next week. I'm going to be in tears.
I think we're all going
God.
to be in tears. But that's going to bring us into our wrap-up thoughts. So, instead of our normal wrap-up thoughts, where we talk about things that we didn't cover in the early in the episode or speculate about possible events in the future, I'm leaving a community question. I want to hear what the community thinks is going on. What are your theories on how Vax's resurrection is going to go? So please leave a comment down below. Let us know if you think the Raven Queen is even going to allow the resurrection. If Matt is going to say true resurrection doesn't exist, or if he does and makes it very, very difficult to undertake. So, let us know.
I'm just gonna say one thing.
Go ahead.
Feywild, time skip, and mind-boggling things. I am worried as heck.
Oh,
because
so much to worry about.
If they get back and it's been like 50 years, we've got a world dominated by Vecna.
Yeah.
I don't think I like the idea. I don't think Matt's going to do that to them. He didn't do it to them last time.
Yeah, he did.
No, he rolled.
No, he did them.
He rolled.
Did he roll?
Yep.
He
I
rolled.
thought that was just a memory thing.
No,
he rolled.
he rolled for time.
Oh.
They rolled for their memory thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. I didn't think that he implemented the time skip rule. I thought he just implemented the memory rule.
No, he talked about the possibility of time jumps and all of that after the episode. But that's going to go ahead and bring us to a close for this episode of Gilmore's Glorious Gossip. Kat, we are definitely going to miss you.
Aw, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
And you are always welcome on the show. You know that.
Yes. I'm sure I'll be back.
So, if you guys enjoyed the episode, click on that like button and subscribe to catch us each and every week. Send in any of your D&D questions to us using the hashtag DM's Corner. If you want to submit art, you can contact us via Twitter using Gilmore_gossip. Or you can contact us via email, gilmoresgloriousgossip@gmail.com, or via Tumblr, gilmore-gossip.tumblr.com. If you want to contact us directly, I'm Akiva David, AKIVADAPHYDD. Jess, this one's going to jump into you because Kat's not going to be here.
I'm Jess at Crit Roll Sketch over on Tumblr, or you can find me at my Twitter at JessieLRLeaf.
We hope you guys enjoyed, and until next week, kick back, relax, and enjoy your games. You still have to do your outro, Kat.
Fine.
My outro. May all your hits be crits. Have a nat 20 day, guys.
I'll see you guys on the internet.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.